Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender, me, myself, and I playthrough of the main event. Game is published by GMT Games, designed by Salvatore, Vasta, developed by Mark Day. We're getting ready to enter into the August 1943 turn. There goes my turn track. The weather phase is always fair in August. Nobody wants to declare war on this turn, that I can tell. The economy phase, Germany's at 32, as is the British. The Russians have moved up to 34. The Germans are not going to give away any points because they had some losses last turn that they're going to have to try and rebuild. They lost a couple infantry and an armored unit. So they're going to need to have all their... Whoops. And they got another guy in the mobilization at the end of turn thing. I forgot to move him into the mobilization box. He's not in the events box. So I've got like 5 points to spend there. So I think I'm going to need most of my production points just to try and get the German army back on the board. So that's the economy. Go to strategic war phase. The Russians have a +2. Germans are a +1 because of their airplane here in Norway. In 6 conquered countries is why Soviet have +2. Do we have anything to play? The Germans don't have any subs. The Russians do have a partisans marker, but they're thinking they're going to need these partisans to finish off these clear weather turns, trying to force breakthroughs and things on the Germans. So they're going to hang on to them and just go with the regular old die roll. The Germans are already down 3 factories, so Russians feel comfortable doing this. Germans roll a 2 plus 1 is a 3. The Russians roll a 1 plus 2 is a 3. So that means we both reduce our factory loss marker by 1 because it's a diamond, but the Russians can't go any lower. So then we go over to the west, and the Germans managed to keep them from putting any bombed markers down here. So the British are +2 because the Americans are in, and the Germans are +3 because they still have Brest under control, and Norway. So again, we go with faction cards. The Germans can't play anything, and the British could play their partisans marker. I don't see me needing it to do anything else, and I really want to try and keep the Germans off their maximum production points. So I am going to go ahead and play the partisans marker for the British. So the German die roll will be halved. They roll 6 plus 3 is a 9. Halved to 4.5 rounds up to a 5. And the British roll a 4 plus 5 is a 6. A 6 to a 5 is still a diamond. So the Germans did recover their factory. So that will be at maximum production next turn. Or the British didn't lose anything because it's a diamond. And then we have to roll for the British partisans and see when they come back. Looks like a 3 to me. So 3 turns, 1, 2, 3, be back in November. And that's strategic warfare. We go to strategic movement. The Germans need to go retrieve their... Dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Never seems like I can have this open where it's not going to be over top of units. So they retrieve that, and I think... check something here. If I remember right, I have some... See, I could strategically move this infantry unit up to someplace like extremely useful from a defensive position-wise. And that might let me be able to do some other things. So I think I'm going to go ahead and move this guy that's way back here behind the lines in Russia. and get him somewhere useful. Where is somewhere useful? I think I'm going to put him in front of Orel. Okay, that's the German. The West. I don't see. Where's my, oh, he's there. He's in there. Okay, yeah, I don't see any strategic moves for the West. Unless there's something. Is there shenanigans? This is what they have to do, though. They do need to take that. Oh, dear. I keep opening the wrong cards. They open up in the wrong places. There we go. They need to get that marker off of that guy so that he's available to do things if he really wants to. The British BEF. So they've got the BEF and the 1st Canadian now here, both sitting on convoys with fleet escort, so they could do an invasion if they wanted. We only have one surprise attack marker at the moment. So we might wait till September when we have 2. That might be a better time to do it. And the Russians, I really don't think they had a strategic move that makes sense. So, yeah, no. None for the Russians. So on into German operations phase. So they don't forget. Let's just go do this right away. Activate him. And he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 1. And now we can go back over to the east and try to do our shenanigans over here. First and foremost, we have to do the airplane fights and hope I get some 2-for-1s. So Kharkov will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cannot intervene on this guy. He's too far away. So, that bodes ill for the south. So let's start with, oh, jeez. I'm having a terrible time getting my map to center where I want it to. There we go. All right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the only thing that Veliluki can hit is Vologaya, so they'll just do that. The Germans are a net of -2, because they're +2 for German, -4 sorties. And the Russians, of course, are at -4. So it's that infamous need a 5 or a 6 to possibly get a 2-for-1. Germans are all a 1. That's not going to do it. So they each take a sortie. And then the Germans will just go ahead and cancel that airplane. Bryansk will go after Kalinin. Same thing. I need a 5 or a 6. A 3 won't do it, so they'll both exchange out. And then Orel will attack Moscow. Again, needing a 5 or a 6. There I go. I got a 5. -2 comes down to a 3. And the Russians roll a 4. -4 is a 0, which becomes a 1. So there's a 2-for-1 split. Yay, I finally got one. 2 for 1. So then this 5 will go ahead and go after this 4 here. I need a 6 at this point to get a 2-for-1. If I don't get a 6, it's just 1 sortie each. Roll a 5, -3 is a 2, so we each take a sortie. And that's... I have 1 airplane with 2 sorties versus 2 of his airplanes with 3. And I can't really affect stuff up here. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he'll be able to affect some of that. but I'll be able to counter it if I want to. Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Can't touch this airplane back here because he's 8 away, but that also means that he will have to move up 1, so he'll only have 1 sortie to actually contribute to combat. And I'll have 2 sorties to kind of try and counter whenever he does his air. It'll become a guessing game as to when we commit air and stuff like that. And that is the airplane stuff. Now, I have a debate here with myself on the Germans on whether I should go ahead and spend the attack, surprise attack marker now to try and disrupt his units down here. I could place it like on the first guards here, or some such. It would be 2 hexes, so I would get a +1 against the 3rd shock, +1 against the 5th tank. I could have like the 3rd Panzer try and break down through here, breaking out the 15th to let it retreat to try and do some defense. I can run the 4th Panzer all the way down to 3052 to help defend the lower open area here south of Kharkov, and possibly try and get the 3rd Panzer to break through, doing some damage maybe to the 3rd shock, possibly killing the 5th tank, and then being able to retreat behind the river at 2852 so that he'd have to come at me from the north, from Kursk, which is a long run for his armor to go around. And then having an armored and an infantry down here in the south to try and slow him down before he gets to the Dnieper, which gives me another turn to retreat, back further, trying to get across the Dnieper and stuff. So, or I could hang on to it and wait till it's like more desperate need. I really think I'm going to go ahead and spend it now because the opportunity is here, and hopefully I'll have some excess protection. Can I speak? Production. Yeah, what the heck is production? Production in the unfair weather months, October, November, December, January, February. If I can scrape together 20 production points somewhere in there, I'll be able to rebuild it and have it for the summer of 44, when I probably am going to need to do it again somewhere, either in the east or the west, to try and counterattack whatever they're pulling off. So we're going to drop the surprise attack marker right there, so that it's 2 hexes to the 3rd shock, and 2 hexes all the way down to the 3rd guards, but I don't think I'm going to get that kind of an attack off. But that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to activate the 3rd Panzer and see if our little mini offensive works. So that's 1 movement point there, so I have 9. I need to go take off my 2 production points for... hello, 1, 2. I'm down to 29. And then we're going to attack the 3rd shock. So the Russians are at +2. The Germans are at +2 for German, +2 for armor, and then +1 for the surprise attack marker. Then we go to combat commitment. The Russians can throw in an airplane. They have one that's in range. And so can the Germans. So we have to go to combat commitment and decide what we would do. Here's the logic I have. The Russians know that they only have a couple of sorties on their airplanes, and they do have their partisans, so they're hoping that they're not going to suffer a huge breakthrough and be able to counterattack this stuff and continue the offensive. Yes, they might lose a unit or 2, but they have units to spare and production to spare to rebuild them. So from their perspective, it's not worth it to waste the airplane on the shock. So they're not going to. And from the German perspective, they're looking at it actually from the reverse, that the Russians almost have to play an airplane here to try and stop this breakthrough that I'm going to suddenly, start crushing things. So the Germans would actually commit. So the Germans end up using a sortie. They go up to +7, but the Russians did not. So the Germans roll. A 2 + 7 is a 9. The Russians roll. A 1 + 2 is a 3. So we go check the 9 to 3. And it is a DD. So they are flipped. And then they must retreat. The Germans will take the hex. Actually, I have 7 points because it cost me 2 to attack that hex. So I have a couple more attacks here. I'm thinking I want to attack going to attack the 5th Tank's army first, because I'm back to that +5 to +2. And we go to combat commitment again. And now the Germans are thinking, he didn't commit it last time, will he commit it this time? Because they're now thinking the same way kind of as the Russians are, this might not be the best thing to do. The Russians know that the Germans only have one sortie left, so their mindset now is, yes, let's defend that tanker unit. Try and keep it from getting flipped because it can't retreat. And the Germans are, at this point, they're in for a penny, in for a pound. They're trying to basically bust up this conglomeration up here so that there's no real good attack. So they're in too. So they both commit. -5 to -5. It's not going to matter. We're both going to end up with 6 sorties because we can't take any more sorties and we can't stop each other from getting to the battle. So that makes the Russians at +4. Oh, this is the guy that I'm attacking now. Sorry. Should change my highlighting there. So I'm attacking the 5th tanks, and it's +7 to +4. So Germans roll. 6 + 7 is a 13. They can't get any better. Russians roll. A 2 + 4 is a 6. So now we got to go check. A 13 to a 6. The Russians just managed to get it to a DR, which means the Germans will have to spend more movement points to finish this off. Okay, so the Germans will spend 2 more to attack the 5th tanks here. Because now it is at a 0. And they are at a +5. So the Germans roll. There's no combat commitment at this point. Nobody has airplanes that can reach anymore. Germans roll 2 + 5 is a 7. Not good. And the Russians rolled a 6, which is a straight up 6. A 7 to a 6 is a diamond. 6 to a 7, I should. Yes. So that's not good for the Germans because they're run out of movement points here. They've got to try to kill it. They really don't have a choice here because it's the gateway to Kharkov, so to speak. So they have to spend their last 2, and again, +5 to 0. They're up to an 8, and they rolled a 5. An 8 to a 5 is a DR. Since he cannot retreat, he is eliminated. So he will go on the Russian eliminated box. The Germans get to take the space. They have a no enemy zone of control marker on there. But with 1 movement point, they can't really attack anyone. So, yeah, there is that. Whoosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. +4 to +3. Yuck. So they're kind of stuck there. The question is whether they want to use their no enemy zone of control to move into 2953, which would be kind of a really nice blocking point, being in front of Kharkov. They have to defend all around it, though. Okay, well. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The armor could attack this one time. Possibly get a retreat, which would force it back there. That would put the armor here. And him there. Otherwise, the armor's here. And here. That would keep him from being able to surround me. So, I guess we'll take the chance and stay right where we're at. Yep, we're going to stay there. And we're going to do... Well, should we do it with this guy first? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can get all the way to there. Yeah, I think I'm going to activate the second. Where is my national tracks? Got to spend a point to activate the second. Or should I try and do everything with the armored first? Yeah. Try the second. Okay, so we spent... I spent 1, 2, 3, 4. Started at 32. So he's going to attack here. The airplane can't reach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but his armor could. Right now I'm +2, +1 for the surprise attack, so I'm +3 to 1 right now. And we go to combat commitment. Hello. +3 to +1. The Russians can throw in a tanks marker here to make it a +3. Try and stay on this side of the Donuts or whatever. And then once again, I'm looking at it. If I have all 3 tank markers, then it basically gives me 3 guards units that are tanks for an attack. And the worst, the retreat here would put me behind the river. Boy. So my airplane's not in reach, but then my airplane would be in reach for him. So he probably wouldn't press the attack. I think on the first die roll, I'm going to let the Germans have their +3 to +1. I'm trying to conserve those tanks markers for offensive use. That will cost this guy 2, so he still has 6 left. And the Germans roll at +3. 5 + 3 is an 8. The Russians roll. 1 + 1 is a 2. Not rolling well here. That's a DD. So that's going to flip him and move me behind the Donuts. That's the only place I can move. This infantry unit... I think wants to go and take the hex. And this guy would be +3, and I would be +2. So that's not really helpful. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take the hex and stop. Activate the 4th Panzer. And he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Because that, being at +4, that's going to hold up pretty well, even if he does bring up his airplane. There's a pretty good chance I can at least, stalemate him for a while. Best he can get is like a +5 to +4. Unless he does an assault. In which case, that's fine by me, because that's only 1 attack. So, I'm kind of wasting the surprise attack marker here. Now, that was 2 more. Puts me down to 26, and I'm going to spend 1 more for this infantry unit. I'm going to move the 15th to here. And then attack this guy. So that leaves me 5 left. 1 to move and 2 to attack. Because I am +2, +1 for the surprise attack, and I'm +3, and he's at 0. So he's +1 for shock, +1 for elite, and -2 for being clipped. So this is just sort of a pot shot in passing. While I set up where I want to defend. Actually, I don't want to move him there. I want to move this guy first. He goes behind Kursk. Sorry, I'm doing things in the wrong order. And then I move that guy and do the attack on the 3rd shock. So, he attacks at +3 to 0. Germans roll. Man, 5 + 3 is an 8. Shock Army rolls. A 1. It's eliminated. Oh dear, because that's a DD result. Oh, wrong card. So it goes the eliminated box. I've done a little bit of damage. I don't want to take the hex because this next guy here is +3 on the defense. So that's not really a good place to be with only 5 movement points. I'd get off maybe 2 attacks and probably not beat him. If I had taken a pot shot with this guy first, maybe, but I'm more interested in making sure I have a semi-solid defense line set up here. So with some reserves is my idea. So I'm thinking he's going to go and move his last movement point to here. What these do is they kind of keep them from being they have to get through, they have to push a couple units back, like 2 hexes, to get their surrounded kind of stuff off. So I'm going to move the Hungarians to here. And these Romanians are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They'll go ahead and go into 7, 8 to go behind that Nostric. So I'll go spend my Hungarian and my Romanian points so I don't forget to move them. Ding and ding. This guy's strategically redeployed into here, so we've got the line this way. The question is just, do I want to stick my nose out here and get my head chopped off? Or do I want to just... then that would give this guy his head chopped off. That's a definite issue here. Okay, the 10th is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I have another point there. I need to do a quick count here. I think I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I started at 32. I should be at, and then 1 in Italy, so I'm at 23. That's 9 I've spent. Okay. He's got some +3 tanks here to be attacking me. I wonder if I should try to hold that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 attacks that way, and then he could come at me from behind. Troubles. Troubles. If you're wondering what I'm talking about this guy going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He could end up here and then attack me twice. If he pushes me out of there, then he's setting up to like put someone here to possibly push the first out, which puts him a unit in here, which surrounds the Panzer and then might very well destroy the first Panzer. So looking that far ahead, I'm trying to figure out where's a better place for me to defend here. And I think it goes something like this. We put the 4th here, that's 1. We put the 1st here, that's 2. And then we spend 1, 2, oh, what did I pick up? Didn't bring Swedes along. And we spend 2 more, should put me at 19, I think, to move this armored unit to here. So now I'm going to count real quick, make sure I didn't miscount myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 1 down in Italy is 12. So why do I have myself down? I just miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and the guy in Italy is 13. So I should be down 13 from 32 is 19. Okay, I'm at the right spot. And I'm trying to hold him off for like 1 more turn, so I have a turn to run in an orderly manner to too far away. Let's see, I've got at least one guy to flip up. And 5 points to build. That would put me down to 14, which means not all my airplanes can come up. So maybe I don't build all my guys this turn. I don't see another move that I absolutely have to make. And I want to try and maybe build back the armor and get all my airplanes and flip someone up. And I may even suffer some step losses here that I'm not seeing. So as the German, I think I'm going to say I'm done moving in the east. Double check, but I don't think I have... I'm as vulnerable as I'm going to be. There's nothing I can do because I can't get an airplane to Italy fast enough. But they don't really have an invasion, so they can't go invade Venice because they're not on ports. Or if they do, it's going to be with... I don't think they even... Yeah, I guess they could... They want to spread in the surprise marker and attack with this unit and capture Venice. Garrisons are relatively easy to blow up, especially since it would be isolated, because I could definitely get units around it and just go boom. It would be a real waste of a surprise attack marker, in my opinion. So the Germans are going to be like, yeah, go ahead. We'll deal with it if you do it. And I think, as the Germans, I was very good. I saved my markers. As far as I can tell, everything's in supply. So I don't have to worry about supply. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And then we got to bring up the faction track, and I have to take off my surprise attack marker and put it in holding lock. Hopefully I'll have enough points to rebuild it at least one more time, but maybe not. Depends on how the war goes, as they say. So I got a shock army and an armored unit destroyed, and pretty much set up a pretty good defensive line here that's, with him having a flipped unit down here, slows down some of his southern expansion stuff. Oh no, I know what I was going to do. I was going to spend one more. I have to spend one more. I'm a dummy. Sorry. I knew there was something else I had to do. This is more of a strategic than tactical thing. This German has to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the reason why he does this is because if he should push this armored back, and he goes running around to the south along the coast towards the Crimea, he could actually breach the Dnieper that way and get into this hex and be well on his way to things like Odessa and stuff. So I kind of have to slow him down. It's just necessary. Which reminds me, this guy would not have gone there. He would have gone... yeah, he would have had to go there, because that's how farther you can get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, yeah. I still run into the problem that he can probably breach the Dnieper here, but I just don't have anybody that I can move into that, but I just don't want him to breach the Dnieper too far. So they can still pull off a breach of the Dnieper on this turn if they really want to, but I think they stick an army out there for me to kill. So we're going to let that go. So that is the Axis operations phase. I'm still in a quandary on how to defend France. I'm definitely not doing it right, but I don't know what else to do because I have to stop the Russians as well. And I really am looking forward to having play someone as the German and let them show me how they stop invasions of France in 1943, because it seems like it's inevitable that the Allies can pull it off. Okay, so we're going to call that the Axis operations turn. We'll be back with the West and possibly a separate section for the Soviets, depending on how much the West actually does. This has been Unconditional Surrender, me, myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario. I'm Dren608. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my videos. I will answer try to respond to all comments that people make. And we will be back with the Western Operations phase with the next video. Bye-bye.